All right, greetings and salutations. This is Bryan Greenlee of Grand Rising Empowerment. And today, well, first and foremost, greeting battle. Grand New Year.
Yes, sir. Grand New Year to you and the listening audience.
That's right.
Grand Rising Empowerment is back. We're still standing. It's 2026, and we're here to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy New Year to the listening audience. And again, I am Bryan Greenlee, and I have Dr. Lloyd C. Darby Jr. on the episode, and we're just going to continue our discussion from the previous episodes. To kind of recap, we were talking about religious education versus changing the way we've been conditioned to think, and the things that we talked about in the previous episode was the slave Bible, who created the slave Bible, when it was created, and how it had a profound effect on society. Okay, so Dr. Darby, what are we going to get into today?
Yes, that's a great introduction, and I want to make sure that we kind of cover that because the Bible as a narrative has had such an impact on society, especially in the United States and the world, that it actually has changed the way we've been conditioned to think through social education, social engineering, education of our ancestors, or shall I say the miseducation. So we get religion sometimes confused. We actually think and believe that this book was actually handed down through the sky into our hands by certain appointed men, as the Bible would read. However, as you continue to study deep, you will realize that these things were all created by the human mind, mankind. He who conquered, subdued the people, and changed the way they've been conditioned to think through enslavement, war, and just power and might. Who had the greater weapon is the one usually who conquered, people wise. So I like to begin by everyone understanding that point. Out of that confusion came this document called the Holy Bible. They put one in every slave's hand, in every slave household, and it has transcended into the courtroom. It's transcended into United States Congress, and it's so-called founded upon. And you'll see when you get sworn in, wherever you are, one hand on the Bible, other hand on the gun. One hand on the Bible, other hand on the lion book. One hand on the Bible, other hand on the racist Constitution. One hand on the Bible, other hand on the lack of civil rights. So it doesn't take much of an in-depth study to understand that this book has been used as a source of manipulation. So much so that they've manipulated the same people they enslaved to think that the book is for them, even to this day.
Preach.
See? So what I want to say is that proposes a question. What do we do with this book today in 2026? What do we do with this book? Throw it away? No, forbid that. But we do want to make sure that we treat it like we're eating fish. You know, you get a fish that have a lot of bones. You want to eat the meat and throw away the bones. And I dare to say that anyone who considers throwing away the whole Bible, I have to question whether they've ever read the Bible from cover to cover. Because there's some things in the Bible, many verses, that it's okay to live by. Why not? So I don't understand those that say throw it away and it's no good. No, I'm not going to say that because I understand that the Bible has many stolen stories, many spiritual mantras and concepts from other nations that were thousands of years in existence. before the advent of this document called the Bible. And that's an easy search to find out. Sumerian text, Cush, Mesopotamia,
Mm.
you know, uh, the metal netter. I mean, it's so many different things that you can actually read line for line how they went and removed those concepts and understandings and placed them in this book called the Bible and try to pass it off as their own. And what I mean by they, I'm going to call this one the King James Version, since that is the one, the 1611, that is the most pertinent today throughout many cultures. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, first, I want to start out by talking about religion. What does religion say? Religion says love God, serve God, worship God, be devoted to God, fear God. All things point to God, which is outside of yourself, while not seeing yourself as God and being one with the creator of the universe. Now, you do this for generation after generation, lifetime after lifetime, ancestor after ancestor. You continue that until all the unnatural seems natural. I'll say that again, until all the unnatural seems natural. Now, this term God was also a term that was created by mankind because the creator exists in itself. And that is not a God, that is a energy or an expression and a manifestation of the energy. So, minus religion, you're still going to have the existence of this creator's essence. And that creator essence is the energy that exists and runs through all things. Now, this term God can only be assessed to man correctly because it's mankind that kills, it's mankind that destroys, and it's mankind that loves, and it's mankind that saves. So, what I'm saying is that if you want a higher self and a lower self, which is what we are, you're going to have to look for the human, whether it's male or female. We all exist in that way. We have a higher self, we have a lower self. We can love you, we can hate you. We can help you, or we can hurt you. Pray if you will to a God in the sky, but if you need help, you better hope a God on this planet shows up, prepared to help you. Bryan?
That's that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. We always, when I was walking in as a Christian, I was that person that was looking outside of myself for the external, waiting for something to fall down out of the sky into my lap, than to, hey, it's here.
Yes.
The person that you're looking for is standing right in the mirror.
Hello.
You're the source. You are the one that's going to create, fix,
Yes, sir.
move, react, create the necessary boundaries for your family. You are that person.
Mm.
And that's also true.
Yeah, so you're dealing with like the deception now, which is point number two. The deception, which is to intentionally teach us to turn into something we are not by performing rituals and service and giving and praying and fasting, you know, instead of teaching us to accept that we really are that answer for our lives. It's not in the sky, or it's not in the universe, or it's not in space. It exists within every human individual, every human born. They have that power, born in a divine state. As they age, they continue to manifest that. And the more you learn about yourself, the more ability, the more able, the more strength you have to prepare your life and to live your life and to map out your life and to be successful in life. But it starts with the way you think. Makes sense?
Well, it makes total sense. When I was going to church, and now that, and I shared this with you offline. I did go to church with my mother as a respect to my mom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm just sitting here and I'm just watching and listening to the pastor deliver a message of we have to do something new if we expect things to change. We cannot keep doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. We all heard that phrase in different ways, but similar phrase. And absolutely right. We cannot. We cannot keep doing the same thing every day,
We should not.
expecting something different to come out of it if
Right.
we don't
Right.
orchestrate the change.
Right. Right. We should not, because, we have many examples of that, people that are. And I mean, what's going to stop you if you continue to do that? Nothing. I mean, you can. You can do it all the way to the grave if you like. Like I said, there's no hand going to come out the sky and say, don't do this or don't do that.
And also, and Battle, you can elaborate on this next statement I'm about to make is what's wrong with veneration of your ancestors?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, what is wrong with acknowledging your ancestors' accomplishment that paved the way for you
Right.
to continue on your journey and prosperity and moving forward?
Yes.
Why does it require, and this is a Christian mindset, that we have to totally discard everything that came before as a result of why things happen, why we accomplish this? We always subservient to Jesus. God did this. No, it was actions that led up to that you
Yes.
or your ancestors did to get you
Right.
there.
Absolutely.
Always
Absolutely.
come back to say, well, if God is mighty, why was slavery such a destructive mechanism in the Black community?
Well, like you said, first place, you still got to point to the human, because it's the human that has to get you out of that, even slavery, whatever mindset it was. But the whole goal of religion is to point to an entity that resembles the one that's conquered you. See, this is how Jesus has gotten all this power. Jesus, and it's not this black Jesus. Stop it. Okay, if we're talking about the one with the blue eye, the hair, the Caucasian, that's the one they're talking about. You don't believe that? Google it and see what picture shows up. Google angels and see what picture they have for the depiction of them. Now I know there's some African American artists out there, some black artists that have painted a black Jesus, and that's really nice. But that's not the one that the world is generally looking at. They're looking at this conqueror one, right? The one that they put in your hand, okay, that no one has never seen, no one has never spoke to. All this basically is hearsay. And it boils down to, do you believe it or you not believe it? Now, your grandmama,
You know.
Your granddad, most of us. And however they got here is the same way you got here. Man plant a seed into the womb of the woman. You gestation period, 9 months generally, okay? And you're born. This is how humans come to this planet. So I'm supposed to ignore them who raised me, taught me, know me, loved me, cared for me, and I'm supposed to give that credit to this character that is created, with a name that really could not be pronounced the way they spell it anyway, because the letter didn't even exist at the time. And even today, some circles don't even pronounce it with a J, it's a H, you know, but it's Jesus over here, but it's Jesus over here. I mean, it really doesn't make sense. But nevertheless, I see where they tried to go with it. Okay. And then basically they say, listen, we're going to colonize you. And if you're going to be a part of this process, you're going to have to forget your language, forget your culture, and you're going to have to go with this culture.
Right.
You're going to speak this now, and you're going to behave this way now. Okay?
The conditioning.
That's right.
The conditioning.
There's conditions.
If you want to succeed in this society,
yes, sir.
You need to do it this way.
Yes, sir. That's basically how we get there. Okay? Now, today, we can see that no matter how you slice it, it points back to the same thing. Okay? If you look at, the birth of the nation, the so-called Independence Day, which always, question that independence of who, because, in 1776, everybody wasn't doing the same thing. It's really interesting when you think about the whole concept of it.
It is such an eye-opening once you begin to rip off the veil.
Yeah.
And you start looking back at history.
Right.
For what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you begin to question a lot of things for what it is.
Yeah.
Independence for who? Like you said, independence for who?
Yeah.
Make it make sense, because I think we were still slaves, enslaved.
Hey.
So independent for who now?
Yeah, but you can barbecue and cook and make hot dogs. You can do whatever you like to do.
Then you're crucified when you're like, no, I don't want to celebrate that.
Right.
Well, that's American.
It is.
As apple pie.
It is, but it's incorrect. Yeah, and I understand there were pockets. They had some, people of color that were liberated even during that time. I get that, but that ain't the point.
But it wasn't the masses.
Absolutely.
It was a few.
Absolutely.
Handful. Like how, like today's society, when they think we overcome because there's a few millionaires that are Black that are successful, but that doesn't represent the whole of society.
No.
The Black community as a whole.
Yeah, it doesn't take away from them either. But like I say all the time, why was there a need for a civil rights movement anyway? I mean, isn't that all human beings? Shouldn't they deserve to be treated civilly? I mean, the fact that you had to create a whole movement, and someone literally died for it.
Absolutely.
That should let you know, with the Bible in his hand. Okay, that should let you know something about the power of the human. You see? So, when somebody comes and tries to give me this sky Bible God concept, unless they're talking about the human God, I don't want to hear it. Especially if they come and tell me that God told them to tell me something. First thing I'm going to tell you to do is get out my face and go tell him this is where I live, okay? And to come tell me himself if that's what you're saying. But until then, you're the only God telling me. Go.
Battle.
Yes, sir.
Battle. I have to mention this. And family, audience members, if you haven't seen this, this is a viral video. However, and I sent it to you, where the pastor, this mega pastor, is in the pulpit and he asks, God came and told me I need 17 members that's in this congregation to give up $10,000.
Yeah.
And he's going to make them a millionaire.
Yes. Yes.
If you believe that,
yes,
I got a golden bridge to sell you in my backyard.
Yes.
Like, make that.
Yes.
Rationally and logically make any sense.
Yeah.
So that goes back to your point.
Absolutely. And don't tell me about it, because I was in there. Don't forget. I've been in the congregation.
And I was there too. I was
Yeah,
like,
and
oh,
I've been
10,000.
seeing it with my own eyes. I had a
I got 50
yes,
$50 with it.
man. Look, I don't even want to get into all that. Bad. You're right. I mean, I've actually been there, you know, as a pastor, and seeing at the service where a gentleman in this particular one, he was brought in because they said he had the gift of giving. He had the gift of giving, and what they meant is that he had the spiritual gift of raising funds. Okay. And at this particular congregation, they had the ushers lock the doors uh, in the back and stand in front of them.
Sound familiar.
Right. And I was right there in my, you know, high pastor seat as a guest speaker. You know, I came there, I was invited and in the thick of it. And it was interesting, you know. And I'm looking around. I said, "What is this? Is this my first experience? This firsthand, you know?" And they actually did. They asked for the $100 line first, and all those who had the 100, they got in the line. But some slipped in anyway that didn't have 100. You know, some had 20, some had 50, and the pastor called them out. You know, this particular bishop, and he had them stand against the wall, and he had them hold what they had in their hand in front of them, and he asked the other people in the congregation to get up and to go and make sure each one of them had $100, and then he had them get back in the $100 line. You know, so I stood up, you know, and I looked, and at this time, while this was going on, they was also had the host pastor and his wife in these two throne chairs off to the side, and they were laying money on their feet, okay, in checks, right? Which in turn I wouldn't pick my check back up. Of course, they thought I was out of order for that, but hey, like I said, LD, and he never followed that kind of thing. And I picked it up and put it in my inside pocket. And I was going to leave, but I said, you know, let me see what this is all about. Let me stick around. So I actually stuck around there because it really caught me off guard. I never seen them do anything in this capacity before. I had preached at this congregation twice, you know, and they rewarded me handsomely with an offering. But I've never seen one of those type of services, appreciation services, done in this area before, and this was outside Augusta. Okay, and so forth. So what you're saying is absolutely right, and I'm not speaking from something somebody told me. See, that's the thing I love about being in this position. You know, I'm speaking from what I actually can witness myself with my own eyes. Now, I respect their right to do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just disagreeing that they're calling this something from the creator of the universe. This is truly a human God minded effort that was based on the confessions of their congregation. Go ahead.
Oh, no. So, okay. So we are gods worshiping the creator through ourselves.
Right.
What does
So
that
that's the
mean?
summary of it. This is the first step we have to get into, and we're talking about changing the way we've been conditioned to think. We are gods on this planet, the male and the female, or the human, and we're worshiping the creator through ourselves. So this would be our actions, okay? The way that we live our life and extend life throughout the planet. So this is why devotion should be internally, then expressed externally in our daily walk. You see? So a lot of these concepts you can find in book, chapter, and verse in the Bible as well, but they were also stolen from previous cultures. Okay. And one of them is that. So what is devotion anyway? What does it mean to be devoted? It's a mindset. It's a mindset of love, loyalty, and enthusiasm for something, someone, or yourself. So being devoted really encompasses all the things of responsibility that one needs to have a successful life. And that devotion should start internally, but be seen externally. So if you notice, a part of the church service, if you ever go to church service, part of it is devotion. Okay. And they do that by singing songs most of the time. They'll say a verse and they'll get everybody, they call it spiritual upliftment. Okay. And to get everybody in the I'll say a better mindset. Okay. And
That will be the worship part of the service.
yes, devotion, they call it.
Yeah.
Right. I know I used to have a devotion leader and they were very good, at they used to call invoking the spirit, getting everything worked up, getting the mindset going. Yeah, that's right. But it has nothing to do with your daily walk because what'll happen after service, is a whole different thing.
That was me shoulder popping over there. That's
Yeah. So I don't have nothing against any of that stuff right there, but true devotion is expressed through your daily walk. See, this is why there's no need to be praying in a prayer closet, but rather walk in prayer and always be in prayer. And what's prayer? Basically, you're going to be talking to the ancestors, talking to the ones that knew you and love you, that live in the mind of each individual. Okay, I can open my eyes or close them. No matter how I do it, I can still hear my grandmother, my grandfather pushing for me, my mother, the things she said. I hear her voice. Okay, I can still talk and commune with them. And I do that through the power of the mind. Okay, so this is that consciousness piece of the human, the piece that no man has been able to map out where it exists, where does it live? Yeah, we may use our brain to access it, but the mind of man is the powerful piece that really connects us to the creator energy, if that makes sense. So, when all these people prayer, I need to go into prayer, pray for me and all that. No, what you do, you walk in it. See, because you have a direct line now. Direct line as a human, this energy runs through every living being. You see?
EVF,
Absolutely.
EVF, energy,
Absolutely. Going to
vibration,
break
and
that down.
frequency.
There you go. Runs through all of us. Right this. Watch this. It runs through nature. It runs through the animals. Runs through the kingdom. Where is it? It is in the atmosphere. It's in the air. Whether it's in the form of the elements, whether it's iron or copper or zinc or calcium, all these elements that make up the universe manifest themselves in the human, and we begin to breathe and walk. Okay. So it's just like this. You got the ocean, you got waves, and you got the current, but they all are water. You see? Never seeing themselves as separate, but all as one in different aspects of the one. So this is the God mind expounded when it comes to nature and humanity. Not worshiping nature, but understanding its existence. And without it, there's not your existence. Okay? And yes, that includes the sun, that includes the moon, that includes the stars, you see? So all this we call the one. So if you want to reverence anything, you should reverence that. Okay? Because without that, there's no you. So I'm asked all the time, well, how do we get here? I said, your mother and your father. Well, how did they get here? Their mother and their father. Well, how did they get here? Their mother and their father. And no matter how far you go back, every time you bring up the human, I'm never going to say dirt, And I'm never going to say that a dirt man was made and he went to sleep and a rib was
Rib.
pulled out and made a woman. No, we are way far too complex for that. So I'm never going to say that because I just know it's not true, right? Especially when you study the anatomy of a woman and the womb alone. The womb alone is just mind boggling. It's just like the eye, the way the eye works. It's just, it's mind boggling. Now, if you want to stick to your story that, there was some dirt, mist came up from the ground and you were formed out of that and all that, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Go through his nostrils.
Yeah, you want to go ahead, so go right ahead. But I'm going to tell you, it's a phenomenon. It's a phenom, unexplainable event that we know exists because we're looking at each other. That's what I'm going to tell you. And nobody has come on from the other side and came back and said it wasn't so. So that's what I'm going to deal with. Okay. So why am I saying all this? Number 6, when we see another human, we see another expression of God. We see another expression of that creative essence because all is one. Religion, however, reconditioned us to look outside of ourselves for the God within ourselves.
And pin us against other people
Yes,
because of that.
yes. Now, you and I have been outside the country,
Yes.
and we've been in the countries where there have been natural people, and we were the foreigner. But I don't know if you remember the first time you saw another, American when you were outside of this country. And it's every time I did it, I never forget, 1978, I'm at the train station, okay? And of course, I'm a black man. I'm waiting at the train station. And I seen a brother, okay? Now, I nod my head up, he nod his up, but we were the only two there out of about 100 people, you know? And these two German ladies were talking next to me. And he asked me, did I have a light? I don't smoke, I didn't have a light. So he asked one of the German, they said, yes. So she did it. He took a puff and he turned to her and he began to speak their language. And I didn't know what he was saying because I was only 19. But he said, hey, man, they've been talking about us the whole time. I said, what? Now, I didn't know him, but we had a bond right there because we both, turned out he was from New York. I was from Philadelphia. So we bonded right there over that moment. But this is the same way that the God mind works with the human, that you may be in a foreign place, but when you see another God mind, you recognize it right away. Sometimes it's through what you call energy. Other times it's through spoken word. But I'm going to tell you now, the last thing them women thought is that their brother could speak Deutsch so fluently. Because, boy, you should have seen their face. They turned red as that W on your shirt. But I kind of like that. I always refer back to that story when, the real recognize the real. And that's how we should see every God mind on the planet. That, hey, we're just another extension of God. So God is plural like that. And I can't stand when people do this too. My God, this, Well, my God, the God that I should, you got your own personal God. Instead of it being universal, you understand, as the humanity of it, the universal, No, you don't have your own person. You have your own individual creator in the human form, which is your mom and your dad. But no, you don't have your own personal, God in the sky that's just looking out for you. Doesn't work that way, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes total sense.
What are we saying?
Hey, real
Yes,
quick.
go.
My experience was the USO.
Yeah.
The first time my family and I, first time I've ever been out of the United States.
Yeah.
And we flew into Germany
Mm-hmm.
and landed.
Uh-huh.
Brother, it was such a culture shock.
Yeah.
Imagine if, and family out there in the audience, imagine, close your eyes. This family, I mean, we were like arm to arm, just like shuffling through the
Yeah.
shuffling through the airport. And the only thing I can remember from my training from basic is that once you get there, look for the USO. And that's the only thing that was stuck in my mind. And I
Yeah.
had little ones, my wife, and we were just like, we never let anyone out of sight. We just like
Yeah.
hustled over to the USO and
Yeah.
and man, I met someone that spoke
There you go.
English, and it was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, we got so much in common.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
true to fashion,
Yeah.
once
Yes,
you
sir.
connect into someone that you can relate to and you know and have the same mindset as you,
Sir.
that connects, it can be disconnected.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. That creator energy. Everything that we see when we get to that, you know, everything we see is the expression of the all, coexisting with one another through consciousness, being conscious, you know. Yes, and there's such thing as a living unconscious person walking around with the eye-opening experience right in front of your face and you cannot even see it. I guess we would call that woke folk today. People have this saying they're woke, and that's what they mean. Their unconscious state has been turned into a conscious one, and they're now being able to be more effective in their own life because they are producing this evidence of this open eye, this third eye awakening of consciousness. And that's the message we're trying to get across today, that we want the God-minded people here on Grand Empowerment, Rising. We want the God mind to be open and open up that eye and be able to see what you could not see before by changing the way you've been conditioned to think and creating a mindset of devotion through your daily walk, understanding that the Creator answer is yes, always, to whatever you want to do. Don't have to ask for it. Don't have to pray about it. Decide. Make the decision. You know what's right. You were born with that divine state. You know what's wrong. Okay? You began to learn that. You know what's good. You begin to learn that. You know what's evil. You begin to see that. So the goal is develop this conscious, righteous mindset that we can continue to walk in, and you stay in your higher self. Don't get rid of your lower self, because you're going to need that to deal with people that are still in their lower self. You see? Don't get rid of that. The goal is to use it when you need it. It's just like a spare tire. You have catch a flat, pull the spare tire out. You have it with you all the time, though, because you're riding around on 4 inflated tires. And that's how you want to ride most of the time. But we're in this world. And in this world, there's a balance. And in that balance, sometimes it gets offset. And you might need that spare tire. That's when you go down in your lower self. You take care of business, and then you return back to your higher self. So what am I saying? I'm saying basically you are what you are seeking. It's not in the sky. It's now here. That God mind is here within you. It's not somewhere in the future where you soon will be. It's now. It's right now. The conscious mind is the here and now. And if you need any help with accessing it, you know how to find us. Just drop a line in the comments, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Sound good, brother?
Sound good, Luther Vandross, here and now. All right.
I didn't catch that.
I did. I was like, ah, okay. Like always, Dr.
Well, maybe
Darby.
sing a note.
Thank you so much for the breakdown. And so, what can we look for in our next episode for myself and the audience member? What are we going to do next?
Next, we're going to talk about some practical application, because the bottom line is that what sense does it make to have a God mind if you don't move in a God-like way? So right now we're talking about self-preservation. Okay, you got to have somewhere to live. You got to have a livelihood. You got to have somewhere to maintain what you have, and you got to have a way to look at the world that propels you forward and your family forward. So we're just going to talk about some practical things, paying bills, making money, dealing with family, some good stuff. I got some stuff coming. We're going to deal with it, man. I'm ready to go with it.
All right. Well, this is another episode of Grand Rising Empowerment. Family, if you have any questions, if you want to make a comment about what you heard, or if you think you just totally against what we're saying, it is all good and it's all right. Put it in the comments down on our Facebook page, and we'll review it and we'll take a look at it. And if it's important enough, we will address it on the next episode. So be empowered, my friends, as my counterpart would say.
Yes, sir.